People were back. Look, I know I said I wasn't doing a profile, but there's no way I couldn't get this one. Look, Dan, it's mad. We've seen all sorts of snake eyes and branded and plants here, but Dan decided to take this incredible deck. And what did you do, Dan? Tell us what you finished and tell us what your win-loss was.
So last weekend I went to the UK Nationals and I placed 103rd at the end of Swiss, making top 128, winning myself a very nice mat and some sleeves, playing maybe one of the best decks of next format, but definitely not of this format, Yubel.
Gosh, nah, insane. And yeah, as far as I'm aware, I don't think there was any other Yubel close to that. Like, yeah, an absolutely fantastic record. I saw Dan on day one, and they were like, it was like a bare high table. I can't remember. I had scrubbed out at this stage, and I was like, oh, how you doing? And then they were like, oh yeah, I'm 8-2 at the moment. I was like, what? Swear? Then I was like, oh, probably Snake Eye. And then they were like, no, I'm playing Yubel. I was like, Yubel? It's like that. Alright, calm. So I really want
to. Come on, Fabs. It's me in it. Like, if you know me, you know how much I love this deck, and it would be a shame.
Yeah, you've been saying a lot about this deck for a while. But the thing is, as well, guys, I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent because I know you want to get into the profile, but I played Yubel. It's not good right now. It's genuinely in Snake Eye format. It's not the one. So the fact that Dan pulled this off, nuts. But without any further ado, I'm gonna let Dan take it away. Tell us a bit about the listing, your ratios and such.
Thank you. So this list is fairly standard, so I don't want to spend too much time going into it, but I know there's a couple of things that people are going to be like, why did you do this? Why did you do that? So we'll get into those when it comes. First, 3 Spirit of Yubel. People are moving to 2 of this. I think maybe in preparation for like the Fiendsmith cards and Phantom coming out. The way the deck is currently as of the Nationals, I just needed more like dark names, more Yubel names, more ways to stay in the game, so it made sense for me to play 3. 3 Beckoning Beast. I've been a huge hater of this engine, but it's too good. You have to play it. Like, this card is broken. 3 Grave Squirmer. This is just Shavara. Like, Shavara is limited. Like, right here, Shavara is limited. Like, if you can play 3 of it in your deck, like for your deck, just play it in it. Like, it's too fucking good, man. 3 Samsara Lotus. This is your Snake Eye Ash. 1 card combo. Interestingly, actually, I do want to bring up there are quite a few games that I opened just Samsara Lotus and no copies of Nightmare Throne. And a lot of people believe that this deck can't function without Nightmare Throne. I'm telling you, post Phantom and pre-Phantom, that's just a lie. There's still combos you can do. Granted, they're not as good, but you're definitely not just ending on like a Yubel pass. Speaking of, I'm on 2 Yubel here. Now, the reason for this is a lot of people have cut one of these, and even I've seen a couple of builds cutting the Terror Incarnate. Shout out to Solemn, who did very well at his Nationals, playing Yubel. So the reason behind this was I wanted to have as many names in rotation as possible for link climbing and Xyz building and things like that, because there's a line where you open up with the Beckoning Beast and the Throne. If you only play 1 Yubel, you only really end on like the Rage for Rudrus or the Appaloosa Rage. And if you play 2, it lets you go into the full board of Appaloosa for 2, the Lotus negates, the Rudrus, and then the Rage with the Unchained Trap. And sometimes, like, if you open this, like, you can pitch it for Spirit Gates, send it for Nightmare Pain, and if you're going second especially as well, like, you can stick one of these, and like, if they're in a position where they have to attack into it, it's kind of curtains. But yeah, I do actually think going forward for Phantom, 2 is correct, because it does help you just, like, you need to have one sort of in semi-rotation to obviously shuffle back and things like that. And then the 1 Terror, not too much to say about that. We'll carry on with the engine before getting into the non-engine. 3 Nightmare Throne. This is so good. If anyone wanted to play the deck and hasn't got these now, you flopped. It's like 45 quid now. You mugged yourself. 3 Nightmare Pain again. People are cutting this. Maybe it's just because I've been playing this since Phantom Nightmare, and maybe I'm stuck in that mind state a little bit. But I've always looked at this card as a Dragonic Diagram, and because we're playing like such a high level of darks anyway, there are hands where Nightmare Pain can get your combo started, and while it might not be like the most optimal combo, you might only end on like 1 or 2 interruptions as opposed to like your 3 or 4 or 5 that you're aiming for. It is still enough to keep you in the game, and there are a lot of games where like if you just stick Nightmare Pain and the opponent, it just puts the opponent in a very awkward position. But it is entirely dealer's choice. I do see the logic behind cutting any of these ratios, and I'm not opposed to it. I've always tried to keep an open mind when I built this deck. These are just the ratios that happen to work for me. 2 Spirit Gates. I was on one of this for a long time, but again, through rigorous testing for NATS, like I wanted to do well, and this card is just bonkers. And even on its own, sometimes it's a combo starter, and the fact it can recycle Nightmare Pain, which is very, very, very like targeted for removal. You just can recycle that, and your opponent's just like, oh, like I had to go into a Nightmare Phoenix to out this, and you just get it back. It's like, oh, yeah. And then 1-for-1 and Terraforming are just the one card combos. And the traps, eternal favourite. Again, people are starting to cut this. Again, I do see the logic behind it because the deck is becoming very more combo based as opposed to like more of a mid-rangey way that I've tried to play it. But I think I'd still play this deck with the eternal favourite, partially because it does also kind of make siding patterns easier because my siding out going second was very, very easy. But the recursion and the revival does keep you in the game a lot. If you're in a very awkward position. And then again, we're not main decking Super Poly, but this Super Poly effect did come up. And while it's not incredible, because obviously the opponent can respond to it, it was good enough for me to warrant playing still. But again, you can cut this for like a Call by the Grave or an extra Gates or something if you feel like it. And then just the Unchained Trap, the Abominable. I don't think it's correct to play Escape because there's lines where like you might link off the Yammer and the Rage to make Appaloosa and things like that. I did test the Escape, but for this build in particular, it just didn't feel incredible. And then non-engine 12-hand traps, Ash, Mourner, Phaler, Imperm. I was playing Ogre for a long time in the main, but going into the bigger event, Snake Eye was obviously projected to be the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Most represented deck in the room. Ogre doesn't do as much, and Mourner actually worked out, even though I didn't see as much Snake Eye as I wanted to, because it does hit a lot of stuff, and yeah, if you can play 12-hand traps, just play these 12. I don't think there's too much to say about the main deck, like non-engine.
Cool, lovely. And then let's get into that side deck. Anything special in the side deck?
Honestly, in the side deck, not really. Ogre, just for like matchups where Mourner isn't as important. Cosmic Cyclone, I valued it in particular in this deck over Lightning Storm and Duster, because there is, when your opponent would flip like a skill drain or an anti-spell or a whatever on you, 9 times out of 10 you've got a body or a continuous spell on the board, so it's like having that chainable destruction is really important. And you can, like, there were matchups like against like Voiceless, for example, where you can side it in going first reactively, which gives it a little bit of leverage over Lightning Storming, but I think this could very easily be Lightning Storm and a Duster as well. Super Poly, honestly, like, I think this is just me being a bit emotional with my deck choices because I just think, oh, you know, this big guy. But it was really good, actually. Like, it was an easy siding going second against anything. I don't think you played Post Phantom, which is a shame, but it pulled its weight through the weekend. It was definitely worth playing over like Droplets or something. 3D Barrier, 3 Skill Drain.
God damn, man. It's the format of the Floods.
Yeah, exactly. There are interesting things you can do in this deck with Skill Drain, which can open one match. Like if you have a Spirit and a Skill Drain and Nightmare Pain, you can float into all 3 of these forms and just like hit them for loads of damage. But I don't think it's correct to main this because when you draw this second, it's dog war.
Makes sense. I really like this list. This is probably one of the cleanest Yubel lists I've seen as well. I like though you've done your ratios. But what was your matchup spread? What kind of decks were you facing?
So my matchup spread, I'll just pull it up because I did make a note of it as I was going through the tournament. Honestly, there was a lot more Rogue at UK Nationals, and I don't know if that's just something that happened in my run or if it was something that you experienced, Fabs. But there was a lot of like matchups I didn't really prepare for. So first round I played Tier Element. Luckily, like 2 of my friends who I tested with a lot enjoyed Tier Element very much, so I was very versed in the matchup. And to be fair, like it was a 2-0, but I did draw lucky. Round 2, it was like a big 60 card Centurion Tempai pile. That was a 2-0 as well. But it was definitely like not a convincing 2-0 in the game too, because the engines like really played off each other. The next 2 rounds were my first losses of day 1. I got 2-0 by Salad because it sounds like I'm being disrespectful when I say this about my opponent with the Salad, but I'm not. They just drew the outs like game 1, and I got outskilled game 2. So it is what it is. Round 4 was Sword Soul. I went 1-2 against Reese, one of the Birmingham boys. Shout out to him. Protoss Called Dark is 2 broken. And then for the rest of day 1, I won out. So round 5 was Snake Eye. Round 6, I think it was just like some kind of rogue deck. I didn't see too much of the engine, so it was a little bit like I only really saw knowledge and things like that. Round 7, Sprite, 2-0. Round 8, I actually played against Rev's cards. Shout out to Revs, really really nice guy. Obviously, he's doing the grind with the playing Yu-Gi-Oh properly on the RDA Centurion deck. Managed to beat him as well. And then round 9, final round of the day was a Snake Eye. And then, obviously, going into day 2, you only play 2 rounds before top cut. Round 10 was my final loss against a Fire King Snake Eye. I didn't actually know that he was on the Fire King, so like I cracked the Snake Eye aspect of the board with the hand traps, and I was like, yeah, I've got enough to stop him. And then he summoned Aponics, and I was like, oh. But he was a really nice guy, and he actually made top cut, so shout outs to him. And then round 11 was Cash, which I just swifted with like a really simple OG Nightmare Pain combo. So yeah, shout out to all my opponents that I played. They were all really nice, really good people. Really good event in general, to be honest. I've just realised we didn't go through the extra deck, Fabs. Should we give that a whirl? Yeah, just the super poly targets. Nothing too much to say about that. Typhon. People cut Typhon, and I understand it, but I don't know. I couldn't think of anything better to put. Like I was trying to leave, and it was like, well, if I've made a Gustav and not have a Rudrus, like going seconds, what kind of I don't know. Typhon was better for me. Rudrus, this boy's fucked. This is like the most generic Omni negate in the extra deck in the game right now, other than Appaloosa, and only Yubel can play it. Like really, so it's really nice to be able to end on that. Griffin, shout out to Trilogy YGO for introducing me to the Griffin line. Against one of my Snake Eyes opponents, I just made a Griffin, and they were just really. They had to go through so many different lines to out it. By the time that they were able to out it, I was able to just like push back on the crap back because they'd had to burn too many resources. I don't see too many people playing this line, but I do think it is definitely worth it. Access code going second. Appaloosa, you make this with the Beckoning Beasts. Like it's just Appaloosa. Probably needs banning. Anguish for going second. Yama, it's Yama. Rage, SP. There's not too much to say about the extra deck. To be fair, like it's just very standard stuff, really. I think the most interesting thing is that I'm playing the super poly targets when not a lot of people are. But as of tomorrow recording, that's going to change. So
everything's going to change up then. No, but this is
definitely.
Absolutely fantastic result. Like again,
thank you, bro. Thank you.
Doing this with Yubel of all decks, I think is sick. And it's a shame he missed out on top cut, but to be fair, I mean, still getting that 8-3 result is headed.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I went into the event with not a lot of expectations. I'll be honest. I just wanted to like play it to the best of my ability, and the fact that I came away with some prizing for that. And I finally got my invite to Euros, so I'm happy about that. Next year, Top Cut's happening because we're going to have Fiendsmith, and he won't be banned by then, trust me.
Yeah, alright, cool. So, lastly, have you got any shout-outs for anyone before we wrap this up?
Definitely. Always shout-outs to Fabs, Jimothy, everyone on TYS. It's always love. The Sanctum squad, for all the rigorous testing we put each other through. So, Jake, George, Ryan, Ahmed. Shout-outs to Tom, Sylvia, Tom, Adam, Nathan, Louis, like all the boys. Shout out to everyone from Birmingham as well who made Top Cut, because NATS this year was stacked with loads of Birmingham talent, and we were really really felt like the city was on top looking at that Top Cut. So huge shout outs to everyone from Birmingham who made Top Cut. Big up Griffin's Gaming. Go buy Battles of Legend, I suppose, if you want to play this deck. If you don't, then I don't know.
And also, guys, make sure that you keep an eye out. Dan's going to be doing another profile. Can I say the channel, Dan, or not? Can I say it?
Yeah, of course, bro.
He's going to be dropping another one on Phantoms, talking about what's going to be going on with Yubel next. Obviously, we know that Phantom of Yubel's coming out, Battle of Legends is coming out, and the deck is going to get better. So if you want to know, that video might already be out, it might not, but either way, just go to Phantom's channel and subscribe so that Dan can give you the spice, and we'll be seeing Yubel people next format.
Definitely. Definitely.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Dan, for doing this profile. And really good job, man. Amazing result. And I look forward to seeing more of you in the future.
Definitely. We're on the grind.
In a bit, guys. Peace.